So what's going on, guys? It's Jem, it's speakboxing. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel before you click onto any of the videos. Also comment below in the comment section if you guys have any opinions on what I'm saying in any of the videos. Like always, is appreciated if you guys could drop me a quick sub or two on my channel. So WBC lightweight champion and IBF light welterweight champion Mikey Garcia, the only fighter out now to hold 2 world titles in 2 weight classes at the same time, says that a fight with IBF welterweight champion Errol Spence is a fight that interests him down the line, and it's a fight that excites him, and it's a fight that's a real challenge for him, and it's a fight where he would look to pick up a world title in his 5th weight class. I'm going to quote Mikey Garcia here. He says, "I have options at 135, 140 and 147 pounds. No other fighter has those options, and I really enjoy the freedom in that. I've got at least 2 potential opponents to pick and choose from in each of those divisions. I have no serious injuries, so I think a return in May or June is doable for me. What excites me the most about an Errol Spence fight is that obviously he's a big attractive fight. He's arguably the best 147-pound fighter and would be the biggest challenge of my career. Easier fights won't bring me the respect or recognition or make me someone people take seriously or accept as a champion. But if you take on the big fights, people will always love you. That's the only way that I'll be remembered. That does more for my legacy." So they're the words of 4 division world champion Mikey Garcia. And the fight between him and Errol Spence, interesting matchup, but is 147 pounds too big for Mikey Garcia? Is 140 pounds his ceiling, you know what I mean, in terms of his punching power and stuff like that? Because Errol Spence is a very big welterweight. Like, this guy could be a light middleweight easily. Like, this guy could move up to light middleweight tomorrow and no one would bat an eyelid, really. Because Errol Spence is a very big 147-pound fighter. And Mikey Garcia, you know what I mean, 140 pounds, he's a decent size. You know what I mean? He's not the most massive 140 pounder. Like Mikey Garcia at 135 pounds, I think Mikey Garcia at lightweight is a real killer. Like, him against the likes of Jorge Linares and Vasyl Lomachenko and Robert Easter Jr. I think they could be very, very good fights for Mikey Garcia. But obviously Mikey Garcia wants big fights. He wants to try and make a legacy in boxing. And he could go down and fight these guys, but these fights don't really excite him. He wants to fight the best fighters in different weight classes, similar to what Roberto Duran did, similar to what Manny Pacquiao did, you know what I mean? And this is what Mikey Garcia wants to do with his career. He wants to make a legacy. He wants to be remembered. And this is a guy who didn't fight for 2.5 years. This is a guy whose career was on hold for 2.5 years because of legal issues and stuff like that outside of the ring. So this guy's jumped back into boxing and he's really, really trying to make up for the lost years he had in a boxing ring, you know what I mean? Like, this guy in 4 fights has beat 2 world champions and beat a 4-weight world champion in Adrian Broner. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is not slowing down in terms of what he's doing in terms of his legacy, and he really wants to have these big fights. But you know what I mean? Errol Spence is a dangerous fight for Mikey Garcia, and it's a fight that he could struggle in. And if the fight was made tomorrow, I'd have to pick Errol Spence easily, because Errol Spence is a very good fighter. Technically, he's a good fighter. Like, he doesn't really have loads of power. He doesn't really, like, he does have punching power, but you know what I mean? It's not prolific. It's not something crazy like Errol Spence where it hit you and knock you clean out. You know what I mean? Like, he will stop opponents. He'll break opponents down. Like, that's what Errol Spence does. Like, he's very prolific in that. But in terms of, like, knocking guys out cold, he's not really that kind of fighter. He's not the fastest fighter, but he's very, very sharp. Errol Spence, and he knows how to break a guy down. He knows where to go in terms of breaking a fighter down. Like, watch it in the Kell Brook fight when he fought Kell Brook. Like, yeah, Kell Brook probably was winning that fight after 5 or 6 rounds, but watch what Errol Spence was doing in that fight. Like, in almost every exchange, Errol Spence was going to the body and breaking Kell Brook down, you know what I mean, slowly. Like, just little body shots in each exchange, and that slowed Kell Brook down. And that's when Kell Brook started to slow in the 7th and 8th round, and that's when Errol Spence started to turn the tide. And that's what happened to make Errol Spence get on top and for him to eventually stop Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Errol Spence is very, very good at that. And Mikey Garcia, fundamentally, he's very basic in terms of what he does, but also he's very effective. He knows how to break a guy down, Mikey Garcia. He knows what to do in there. He's got a very, very good ring IQ, Mikey Garcia. That's one thing about him. Like, even his fight last Saturday against Sergei Lipinets, even though he was in there with a dangerous opponent, like, he knew what he was doing against Sergei Lipinets. Like, he knew what he was doing in terms of controlling the action in the ring, you know what I mean? Like, even though he managed to drop Sergei Lipinets in the 7th round, a lot of fighters would have just jumped on their man, but Mikey Garcia thought, you know what, this guy is a champion at 140 pounds, he has punching power and stuff like that, he's a guy who's bigger than me, so I'm just going to have to be patient with this guy, and if the knockout comes, it comes, you know what I mean? And the fight went 12 rounds, and Mikey Garcia put on a very disciplined, very professional performance against a guy who was a world champion in just 13 fights in Sergei Lipinets. So Mikey Garcia, there are options for him. Me personally, I like to see him fight the winner of Jorge Linares and Vasyl Lomachenko, because apparently that fight has just been announced for May 12th. I'm going to make a video about that fight soon. And also Robert Easter Jr., who was in attendance for Mikey Garcia against Sergei Lipinets, who is the IBF lightweight champion. He's a guy who fights on Premier Boxing, who fights on PBC just like Mikey Garcia has. So that's a fight that could happen next, like Mikey Garcia against Robert Easter Jr. But can Mikey Garcia go back down to 135 pounds? Like, it's up to Mikey Garcia what he's going to do next, because he's going to have to vacate one of them world titles. Is it going to be the WBC title he holds at lightweight, or is it going to be the IBF title at 140 pounds? Like, apparently the plan was to win a title at 140 pounds and then drop it and go back down to 135 pounds and fight Jorge Linares. But Linares is fighting Vasyl Lomachenko now. So yeah, Mikey Garcia, I like what he's doing about going up in the weight classes and stuff like that, but it is a very risky thing to do, especially if he wants to fight somebody like an Errol Spence, who in a lot of people's eyes is the best fighter in the welterweight division, who is going to be the next pound for pound star. Like, a fight that's always interested me with Mikey Garcia is Mikey Garcia versus Terence Crawford. I think that could be a very, very good fight at 140 pounds. But obviously Terence Crawford's just moved up to 147. But even a fight against Mikey Garcia at 147 pounds, because Terence Crawford, unlike Errol Spence, isn't a massive welterweight, so maybe that could be more realistic. But Terence Crawford is a very, very, very good fighter. So yeah, Mikey Garcia's got plenty of options, especially if he's flirting with 3 weight classes right now. So yeah, just a quick video about what Mikey Garcia is saying here about being interested in fighting Errol Spence. Comment below in the comment section. It's JM, it's Speakboxing.